So, hi guys, we have a new computer today. I was thinking, how can we really game? So this is Jorge from the future. Actually, this is like already like 1 week later or something after I record the whole video that you are going to see now. But I just realized that the Kepler generation of the graphics card that I got with this computer actually is really not compatible with games anymore. So I was like, okay, then let's change a little bit the concept of this video and let's target all of you creators, professionals, students, engineers, architects that use this kind of certified software or professional software like SolidWorks, like CATIA, like Autodesk or DaVinci Resolve, Photoshop, Lightroom. And I changed a little bit the curse of this video because, as I just mentioned before, the Kepler generation is quite outdated and NVIDIA does not support it anymore, and the drivers now are getting quite old, and most of the games that I was trying, they show already compatibility errors, and even if they launch, they were working not really properly, and a lot of games like AAA games from today, they were not even starting because you got an error that saying, hey, your drivers are quite old, please update them. So we changed a little bit the video, but actually it's actually the same, and the computer works perfect. And the Kepler generation, even though that is old, for most of these professional applications, it works perfect and like a monster as it did 10 years ago. So keep watching and see you now. On a computer that is really cheap, affordable, that most of you guys can really afford, because nowadays, even that price are going down again, I think it's always important to keep a look into the prices. There's a lot of you guys that are very young, that are just trying to save money, and you cannot sometimes afford the new hardware that you can have. But I was thinking, let's buy something like that I always use, and then let's put it just to work as a gaming computer. I think this is going to be a very, very cheap option, and it's going to surprise you actually how amazing it is. I just bought this computer on eBay. It is a second-hand store from eBay that we have here in Germany. It's called eBay Kleinanzeigen, and it's a local Germany stuff. So let's just go deep into, let's unpack this, and let's take a look to what we can go. And let's take a look to what we can get by 350 euros. I think it's an amazing price, and we're going to make some very cheap upgrades, and we're going to, and then at the end, we're going to be around the 500 euros prices, probably less than that. So I think this is going to be a 500 euros gaming PC, and I think we can expect very good results out of it. So let's start unpacking this. I have no idea if this is the correct side actually to unpack this, but let's just try. I bought this, I think, on Saturday. I paid it on Sunday. And it looks well packed. So this is going to be not that easy actually. This is a Dell Workstation. As you may already know, I really kind of like Dell Workstations and what do they offer. And I bought this, as I just mentioned, by 350 euros, and actually looks in perfect condition, like literally like new. And it's supposed to have a very good hardware inside. So let's take a look together. It's a Dell Precision 5820. It is from the X299 series, from Intel Core series. It accepts Xeons from the 6th and 7th generation of Intel series, which are the Xeon W2100 series and 2200 series. I already made a video that you can find here about exactly a deep review of this workstation. I think this is one of the best workstations that Dell have ever made in the whole history. And it also supports as well the Intel Core series from the 10th generation and I think the 9th generation as well, going up to 18 cores. So I think it's a pretty cool computer, and let's open it together. Look pretty nice actually. I bought this computer with a quad-core Intel Xeon W2125 CPU. It is only a 4-core CPU, but it's a high-frequency CPU with a base clock speed of 4.0 GHz and turbo boosting up to 4.23 GHz or something like that, which is actually pretty good. It's only a 4-core, 8 threads. And the nice thing about this is I got this with an NVIDIA Quadro K6000. It is from the Kepler generation. It's a quite old GPU, but it has 12 gigabytes of GDDR5 memory, which is actually a pretty cool thing if you are also into 3D modeling, or if you are also into kind of finance or mechanical simulation, or you are coding and programming with CUDA. This is going to be an incredible graphics card until today. And I got this as well with 32 gigabytes of memory RAM, pretty standard, but hey guys, you need to remember this is a 350 euros machine. 350 euros machine. You cannot even buy a good case with that money and a motherboard and a CPU, and this is pretty cheap. It has a ton of features, as you already may know from my previous videos. So as I just mentioned, this is the GPU. This is the NVIDIA Quadro K6000. Amazing GPU. It's a dual slot and it's already there integrated. 12 gigabytes of memory RAM. I think if I recall correct, it has 2,772 CUDA cores. Don't ask me why do I remember that. And the CPU, we can open this latch here and you can find it. You can see here I think these are 4 8 gigabyte sticks of DDR4. They should be running at 2,660 megahertz or something like that. It's a little bit dirty, I will say, as you can see in the inner fans, but I mean, it's a used computer. Yeah, we have a frontal fan as well here. I don't know if we have a CD, DVD, ROM, but it looks pretty cool. Actually, also a nice thing about this model that I just got, it has a 950 watts power supply, which it's more than enough for even if you want to make an upgrade in the future of the 18-core Xeon CPUs or Intel Core series CPU, in case that you got one model with the Core series CPUs, and this power supplies can handle this pretty well. Just as you already may know, you have here SD card reader, full size. You have 2 USB-A ports. You have 2 USB-C ports, 3.1, 5 gigabits per second and 10 gigabits per second. Audio jack, and there is no DVD panel, but let's open it as well. And let's take a look to what we got. So now it's open. I think I got this with a 250 gigabyte solid state drive and with a 2 terabyte hard drive, looks like. Yeah. Let's take a look. There is no SSD here. There is no SSD here. And here is the 250 gigs SSD. These are SATA drives. Actually, they are pretty common. They are the caddies, and as you may know, just think a look again in the big picture. This is a very cheap computers, because nowadays these are now the old generation of Dell workstation that are now a lot of companies, they are not using them anymore, because now there are new generation that are on the market, and all these machines now are going to the market as a used computers, because no one wants them anymore. And there is where all of you guys that are looking for a gaming PC on the chip that you can upgrade in the future, this is an amazing option. And maybe a lot of you guys that are entrepreneurs, or maybe a lot of you guys that are working on a startup or are really trying to push a new company or creating something new, and you need reliable machines for your people, for your friends, for your colleagues. These are going to be amazing machines, and really, really on the chip, believe me, with great CPUs, with great GPUs, with great memory RAM expandability, options for massive storage, like really for massive storage. And also a nice thing, Also, a nice thing about this computer is that you have a lot of expansion ports, like really a lot of expansion ports. You have actually 4 PCI Express 3.0 by 16. 2 of them are, I think the main GPU and the second GPU, they are capable of delivering 65 watts of power, and up to the 16 by configuration. All the rest is configured by 8 and by 4. So if you got one of these of the Xeon CPUs, you can go up to, I think, 500 gigabytes of memory RAM or 1 terabyte. And if you have one of the Intel Core series CPUs, I just mentioned in my previous videos of this computer, you can go up to 256 gigabytes of memory RAM. But to be honest, for a lot of you guys or a lot of companies or startups, it's more than enough actually. And this is a pretty cool machine. I really like this machine. Probably I'm going to clean it a little bit later, but first of all, I want to test it just as I bought it. I just want to be sure that it's turned on, and yeah, let's put it back together and let's boot it up. It's actually a pretty cool computer. For 10 years, no, for 8 years, you could only dream as a private person for getting a Quadro K6000. Now it's the whole package for $350 euros. And I mean, this is a dream like for me to have this. So let's take a look. Is this on? I have no idea. Yeah. Let's put this back on. Where was this always? I think it's like this. So let's start. Let's try it if it boots, and I was not scammed or something like that. The nice thing about the Dell Workstation is that they have something like a boot up cycle, and in the first cycle that they do, they try to recognize all the hardware and they take a look if everything works, and if it boots it's because all the previous checks were passed and everything works, like the CPU with the memory, with the GPU, the disk drives, the PCI Express cards, and after that it will boot. Sometimes the first time you turn on a workstation, it's kind of takes time to boot. So I just hope that this works well. So I think the graphics card is a little bit too loud. It's a little loud, but probably it's because it's quite dirty. So I need to clean that later. But yeah, this is actually pretty tricky. All Dell Workstation, all HP Workstation, Lenovo Workstation, they implement these checks in the beginning. And it's quite tricky. Sometimes work immediately. Sometimes you need to play a little bit with the memory sticks, with the GPU, range set again the components. Because if a component is not setting well or properly, and now it's booting. Yeah, now it's boot. So it took 3 cycles in order to check all the hardware in the beginning, and now we can maybe press F2. Let's hope we can go to the boot menus again. Yeah, now we are going to the setup. Let's check the configuration. It's quite loud actually. Maybe you can hear now. But let's take a look. We have 32 gigabytes of memory RAM, as I just mentioned, 4 stick, 8 gigabytes each, 2666 megahertz. We have a CPU. Let me take a look if I can find the CPU configuration information just for you. Yeah, we have an Intel Xeon quad-core 8 threads W2125. Looks pretty okay to what the seller said. 256 gigabyte solid state drive and the 2 terabyte hard drive that we just saw, and an NVIDIA graphics card. So actually looks pretty cool now. Now that I know that everything is working and everything that the seller described in the listing is working, now we're going to take a look to this operating system. Let's restart the computer and go again. So actually it looks pretty cool. I have no internet right here, so I will just go to the setup offline, and maybe I can, yeah, I don't have internet. Ich habe kein Internet is in German. Let's go to the setup through, and I will just create a user account. these are amazing opportunities right now. These are amazing opportunities right now because take a look to the whole package that you are getting for this. You are getting massive storage expansions, capabilities, incredible performance for CPUs up to 18 cores. Maybe they are older generations, but they are amazing CPUs. They are very, very reliable machines. They are going to never let you down. They are super reliable. As I just mentioned, if you are only want to play games, this has an incredible power supply. You have tons of PCI Express, even for something very special like camera recorders in PCI Express for multiple GPUs, even if that's what you want, or any expansion card that you want, like 10 gigabyte cards, everything. This computer is going to accept all of this because most of the today mainstream motherboards that you can get for like 100, 150 euros, they accept only only one PCI Express, and they are very, very limited in the things what you can do with them. They have as well support for NVMe PCI Express drive. They're just very good machines, really, really reliable machines. And now we are in Windows, and I think this person installed a lot of things in this machine. But yeah, let's take a look to the task manager. I really don't care what he installed. We just want to take a look to the hardware. Yeah, we have the Xeon. It's perfect. The 32 gigabytes of RAM are recognized. The main SSD is a Samsung SSD A50 Pro. Let me increase the resolution. That should be a little bit better for you. And we have the second 2 terabyte hardware as we just saw. And I think we need to install drivers of the graphics card. There is no driver of the graphics card. So let's do that. So one thing that I would like to do, even before testing or installing something, I was thinking like, there is one SSD installed, pre-installed in the machine. Actually, this seller was kind enough to let Windows and everything installed there. But I don't know you, but at least I don't like to use an operating system that I really don't know the source, and you don't know what is installed, and looks like there's a lot of customization in this ISO that he installed, like the Windows menu and everything. So I think for security reasons, I will uninstall the SSD, and I will make the first upgrade that I was planning for this machine, because that's a pretty cool thing. For $350 you can get a machine like this. Probably in the United States even cheaper than here in Germany. And I have here a 2 terabytes NVMe drive, which is now in Germany is like 70 euros. In the United States it's going to be the same, like 70 US dollars. And the PCI Express adapter is going to be as well, like maybe 10 US dollars, 10 euros cost me. And I know by a fact, because I already tried in another machine, that it works, and it works perfect. So I will replace the main SSD in which the operating system is installed. And I think 2 terabytes of NVMe is going to be plenty of storage for all of you guys that want to install some games or install professional applications like the Autodesk series of software that they require a lot of space, maybe SolidWorks, Maker, or all the software that you want, and the games probably is going to be more than enough in here. And because we have the 2 terabyte hard drive as well in there, I will format it, and I will format everything, and it should be more than enough. So let's do that upgrade pretty quick. Let's just unplug this. But for this, I'm just going to take actually this PCI Express. I will unlock the latches here. I will put this in the first one. Oh, it came back. And that should be more than enough, to be honest. Maybe I can. So that should be more than enough. What I wanted to do as well, I wanted to check the memory RAM, because I also have memory RAM to upgrade, but I think it's not necessary now, because otherwise you need to make some boot checks and everything, and I think I will spare that. So let's put the cover back on side. Actually, we can leave the machine like this, and then we are going to come back later with the Windows installation. So I think for now it's enough, and I will create a bootable USB stick for this. Very important for these machines is that when you install MB PCI Express drive, they are not natively recognized by Windows. So you just need one drive. You just go to the Dell support site, and you just download the Intel Rapid Storage driver, you unpack it and put it in the same USB stick in which you have the ISO installation of Windows, and then you just load the drivers and the NVMe should be directly recognized. If you still have problems with the recognition of the PCI Express drive on this machine, you need to take a look to the BIOS settings, but it works, and I give you my word that is supported. Doesn't matter which generation of mainboard do you have, PCI Express NVMe booting on this machine, it is totally possible. So this is what I was telling you, and I actually make a small point on this because before, for a few years when this computer was new, I actually had a lot of troubles trying to recognize the PCI Express drives on these machines, even if they are factory supported from Dell. Of course, they always sell you this stuff that they use, and yeah. So I really, no, actually this is nice thing. The driver that you need, is it's called Intel Virtual RAID on CPU driver. This is a mass storage controller that you need to download. It's very important. For laptops and other computers, it's called Intel Rapid Storage, but for this, it's called Intel Virtual RAID on CPU. This is VROC driver. So we are just going to unpack this and put it in the USB stick, and it should be more than enough. So let's close this back again. I just want to install the PCI card and so guys, one thing that I really like to do when I just install Windows is deactivate all these stuff that they get from you without asking you, like the account information that they always get, and they are always this telemetry, and I always deactivate everything. If it is true, I don't know, but I always deactivate all these, like access to your email, access to your account, like they save and track the history that you made and the compatibility with another devices in your network. Like I don't like that. I don't want that. All these background apps that Windows install, and one of the most important as well is this is data protection, and you deactivate everything. And I think that's a thing that I really recommend you. Just deactivate this stuff. Let's take a look if Windows is activated. It should have a license already included. Let's take a look. Usually this Windows 10 Pro for Workstation. Yeah, here is it's telling me that Windows 10 Pro is cannot deactivated, but these machines usually are sold by Dell with Windows 10 Pro for Workstation, which is just the license. It is already almost the price of the 350 euros that I pay. So let's say we want to update the Windows version that we have installed, and it should be enough. It's going to restart the computer, and after that we are going to have Windows activated with Windows 10 Pro for Workstation, and I can go ahead to install all the drivers that I require. One of the nicest features of this K6000, and which is unbelievable up to today, is that besides the 12 gigabytes of GDDR5 memory, is the fact that the double precision computing capabilities of this graphics card is insane. The double precision computing capabilities of this graphics card is even greater than the A5500 that I still have from the ADA generation, which is unbelievable. But those graphics cards were made for other things in that time, and then NVIDIA changed a little bit now with the NVIDIA RTX professional GPUs to what we have today. Hello everyone, I'm back. I just finished installing Windows and everything. It's one day later because I realized that actually it was a bit much to do to install and to prepare, to show you the best case scenarios that for my case or for creators, you guys out there, for engineers, for students, for civil architects, doesn't matter actually what. If you need a reliable and powerful computer that offers upgradability, just out of the box, as we just mentioned before, this computer can really bring you something useful and benefit you. So let's start with one of the main categories that I always like to show you and to showcase, which is 3D modeling. 3D modeling is part of a lot of you guys out there since you are a student. It's going to continue keep with you the whole career that you have, and probably even after, like if you are an industrial designer, product design, maybe you are just wanted to 3D print some stuff at your place, or you want to start a business by 3D printing. This is going to really be one of the most use cases scenarios that you can have and that you can actually give to this computer. So let's start with one of the software that I actually most like as well. Maybe it's not free, but a lot of you student guys can get it very, very cheap, as same as I, which is the CATIA 3D Experience software. I use CATIA a lot for all the things probably that I do. I use it a lot, and I like it really a lot as well. And I think CATIA 3D Experience platforms are really cool stuff for students. I think you just need to pay $100 per year, which is pretty affordable. And yeah, I mean, for these case scenarios, this workstation is going to make an amazing job. For example, this is an assembly. This is actually quite a huge assembly. And now I'm in the assembly mode, but I just want to show you that this computer works perfectly. I mean, even if the drivers are old, and CATIA sometimes tell you when you launch it that, hey, your graphics card drivers are quite outdated, please buy a new graphics card. I think from a Kepler generation graphics card, you can still manage to have some use maybe for 1 or 2 years, depending on this application that you are using. But yeah, as I just mentioned, for CATIA and the 3D Experience platform, it's going to be the same and even better for CATIA V5, because CATIA V5 is a little bit an older version of this software, so it's going to work perfectly fine. You will have zero problem to render even the most complex scenes and assemblies. So let's close this and let's go to the next software that I already like a lot as well for 3D modeling, and that I use as well a lot, which is going to be SolidWorks. SolidWorks, a lot of you guys as well, you have a lot of experience with this software. A lot of you guys, students, or in most universities, you have access to this software, which I think is actually a pretty cool thing. And for those case scenarios as well, 3D printing, everything that you are doing at home, at your small business, this workstation, let me just spoil you, is going to be a monster for all this. And even the K6000 that is again a little bit old, doesn't matter, you can upgrade it always on the fly. It's a pretty dense model actually. This is all on surfaces of a Ford F-150. It's just trying to open here because it's quite a huge data. And it just opened, and I will show you how it works perfect. I mean, there is no problem. You can do everything that you want to do. You can do it, and it's going to look pretty cool. And if you take a look to the CPU and to the graphics card, the CPU is actually doing this job pretty well. Turbo boosting up to 4.3 GHz for one core, which is amazing, and 8.5 gigabytes of memory is only being used, and the NVIDIA Quadros K6000 is just doing absolutely nothing because it's not really demanding the thing that we are doing here. And that's a thumbs up as well for SolidWorks. SolidWorks is going to work perfect with this machine out of the box. Doesn't matter the upgrade, even with the SSD that it got installed. So let's close this and let's go to the next application, which is going to be Autodesk Fusion 360. Fusion 360 has a really nice feature, which is that it is free. It is free, and for all of you students, you can get the whole suite of Autodesk for students completely free as well, as long as you are enrolled in a university. Or you can buy it, which is pretty free, I think, and you can buy it as well, and it just costs a few €100 per year. So I think it's an amazing thing. And for this software as well, there is no warnings, there is no application errors because of the old drivers of the GPU. So I think this is a must as well for all of you guys. And I'm just going to do super basic stuff just to show you that it works perfect. It works perfect, and there is nothing that can stop this computer for doing his job. Again, we can take a look again to the task manager on the background, and CPU is 3% used. Is turbo boosting pretty cool. The memory RAM, because if you notice, I left SolidWorks open in the background because I just want to show you the amount of tasks that this computer can handle. And as well, everything is just pretty normal. You can throw at it large assemblies, multiple components, and probably it's not going to make a thing. Because remember, even if it's a 10 years old graphics card, it was the highest end graphics card from around years. From NVIDIA, it was a huge step in the chain of what NVIDIA could offer on that time. So let's continue now with the next software. The next software is going to be a little bit as well like software that I'm trying to learn in the last months a little bit more, which is Blender. And why Blender? Because when the Blender is free, it's open source, and a lot of you guys, I think, can benefit from that. Blender is actually a pretty cool software as well. As I just mentioned, it's open source, and you have a lot of options to do with it, to work with it, as well as rendering and physics simulation. It's just an amazing software, and I know that a lot of you guys are using it as well. So here I made a few of my research models as well for my PhD in Blender. I was working with it, and it works perfect. I mean, this computer can just handle everything as well. There is no distortion, there is no aberration, there is nothing that doesn't work, and I think it's just a pretty cool thing. And as well, memory is ramping up again. The GPU is doing his best. Maybe if we push very hard. Now Blender is pushing very hard the graphics card, but it's still managing. I mean, it's still doing a pretty cool job. So Blender as well, and all the 3D modeling software that you can throw at it, probably is going to work fine. Maybe if you're an architect and you are developing huge data sets of buildings or houses, probably is going to bend a little bit not the power of the GPU, but the age of the GPU probably, and the optimization of drivers for it. So that's a lot for 3D modeling. And this computer out of the box as well, because of the GPU, is going to help you a lot as well to accelerate mechanical simulations like finite element simulations in MATLAB, in Abacus, or in ANSYS. But I'm not going this time through it because I already showed you in a lot of my videos as well how NVIDIA graphics card can benefit you in order to accelerate the computational time of your mechanical simulations. We are going to continue now with one of the things that I think is still very much underrated, which is the power of old generation hardware for video edition. In this case, I'm just going to open a video project of this YouTube channel, of my YouTube channel, on DaVinci Resolve, and let's take a look how it behaves. Guys, I just imported one of my videos. This is a 4K take. I think, yeah, I record this with the NVIDIA. I record this with the Sony A7C that is actually recording this video, and it's a pretty good quality actually. Raw input that we are pushing into it. And let's take a look again. Now the memory RAM now ramp up again because I'm using more software in the background. Like I let Fusion open, Blender is also open, SolidWorks is also open. And now we're working with DaVinci Resolve. Let's go to the edit page and let's just maybe play this and take a look how it works. It's working pretty fine. There is no drop in frames. There is also, I'm not using proxies, I'm not using cache. As I just mentioned before, I think for all of you guys, even creators, like today creators that are looking to start a YouTube channel, to start doing just video edition or photo edition, this computer is going to help you a lot. I mean, $350 US, 350 euros is not going to break your finances or something like that. You don't need to save 2,000–3,000 euros to get something that even in 1 year is going to be outdated already. These machines, believe me, are pure power, reliability, and out of the box, works perfect. So let's continue now with something a little bit more like OBS Studio for recording videos and using as well the NVIDIA GPU. I'm just going to record now this, just as it is. I'm just going to be launching stuff here and maybe opening some applications in the background just to take a look how it works, how it reacts. Jorge Morales, this is a test. Let's open PowerPoint. Let's just start throwing something at the computer and let's take a look how it handles everything. Let's put Excel out there as well. as I just mentioned before, Excel is working, PowerPoint is working, Word, OBS is recording in the background. Let's maybe open something like Lightroom Classic. I don't know, I mean, you can just throw at it a lot of things and this computer is going to handle pretty well. Even if you have a 4-core CPU, it works pretty well really, and you are not going to be at all disappointed if you get this computer. Just like first-hand recommendation, it's a monster, and I think it's one of the cheapest alternatives that you can get as a creator, as a student, as an engineer, as a hobbyist, as an entrepreneur, in order to push up the boundaries what your computer capabilities can do. And for such an amazing price, I think these kind of computers nowadays makes a lot of sense. And that's how I want to conclude actually this video, is why do they make sense now and why do I think getting this cheap alternative is a good option. Because now with the new release of the new models, as I mentioned before, now all these old models are going into the market as second hand, or a lot of resellers have a lot of stock and they need to get rid of them, like on eBay, like I don't know which kind of online shop that you can have in your country, but now they make a lot of sense because now they are not the newest generations and they need to get rid of them. And that's where we go into that's where we came into the game. All people that maybe we need to save some money to get some components, or maybe you entrepreneur that you are just trying to expand your business and you have not 20,000-30,000 euros to buy 10 workstations. Maybe you can go with 3,000 euros, buy 10 workstations, and they're going to make an amazing job. Or you are building your 3D printing lab. This is going to be an amazing option for all of you guys. If you are building your 3D printing lab, or I don't know, this is going to be a very good option for you, and I think that's why this makes sense. Even if you are playing some slightly games like we just showcased before, like Gears 5, maybe something like Age of Empires, or something that do not require the latest drivers optimization from NVIDIA, it's going to make an amazing job. But that's where we start to the next point of this actual machine, which is the upgradability. Upgradability is one of the core points. Why do I make this video? Because it doesn't matter if it is old and the Kepler generation graphics card that I got in here is already throwing me errors in some applications and in some games that this is outdated. Hey, that's why this machine is so incredible. You can just install GPUs if you want. For example, I have here in my hands an RTX 4000. This GPU is insane, brutal for all of you guys that are using this kind of professional applications, or 3D modeling, or video edition software, photo edition software, or it doesn't matter what. And this GPU, you can find it nowadays for around $300 US. You can get this amazing GPU, and that's not even the best thing. The best thing is that you can put like 3 of these inside this machine, even 4 of these in this machine. And if you want to go a little bit harder, if you want to upgrade for like an 8-core CPU or a 6-core CPU in this machine and invest like 300 euros more in a better GPU, you can have something like this, an NVIDIA RTX A4000 professional line of GPUs. This here in Germany, you can buy it now used like in between 400 to 600 euros. And that is an amazing price, and the same as this one. You can throw at it like 3 of them simultaneously if you want to render with GPU capabilities, I don't know what you are doing, or FEM simulations. With 2 of these, 3 of these, you can make amazing things. And now, the other thing that is very important, mass storage. Mass storage now is a little bit underrated as well, because a lot of you guys are using NAS and other solutions that maybe work better for you. But if you are a young guy, entrepreneur, looking just for something that expands this machine, you can just throw SSD at them. SSD now are very, very cheap. And you can throw 4 of them, plus the PCI Express capabilities with expansion cards. Like you can put here maybe 100 terabytes, 80 terabytes of mass storage in the front caddies. You can even still insert a Blu-ray DVD player if you want to make like an entertainment system as well. You have tons of PCI Express just to expand that capabilities. So let's talk about upgrades to this computer. I think that's one of the main points of this, and I hope you really notice how amazing is this. Let's start just by removing again the CPU cover and checking again what we have. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 PCI Express by 16. 2 of them are configured at 16, 2 of them by 8, and 1 of them by 4. And the other one is an old PCI connector, no Express. But yeah, let's disassemble the graphics card because I want to show you something, which is about, because this graphics card, as I mentioned and we took a look before, is a little bit old. Some applications and games are going to give you already errors that are not supported anymore on this graphics card. But that's why we're going to take a look to what you could install, for example, if you want to invest a little bit more of money in upgrade your computers down the road. So let's take this with me. I love this GPU. Just to show you, I really like this graphics card. I like a lot this graphics card. So for example, as we mentioned before, maybe if you invest a little bit of money, maybe like instead of the 350 for the computer, if you invest like maybe 300 euros more, you can get an NVIDIA Quadro RTX 4000, 8 GB DDR5 memory, almost 2000 CUDA cores. Ray tracing is already enabled for this graphics card, and it's going to make an amazing job in all the applications that we already checked. Like really, maybe 6 times better than that. Like really, no joke. The only difference is that you are losing these double precision capabilities that the K6000 offering that back on the days with the Kepler generation. But besides that, pretty cool. So let's just install it, just for you to take a look what are the expansion capabilities of this machine. So that's pretty much it actually. I already have a 10 gigabit network card here inside, maybe as you can see here. But let's say you want to install something like you want to add multiple GPUs, this single slot form, maybe to increase your or to decrease your render time of images, of videos using CUDA acceleration. We can just throw it the second GPU inside here and no problem. And because you have here 2 connectors, you can even add more connectors to the GPUs, to the machine if you want. You can just buy it and then plug it in the power supply. That should be no problem at all. Here, for example, I have 2 sticks of DDR4 memory. This is also register DIMMs, and as you can see here, you can expand this PC with up to 8 modules, and these 8 modules using 32 gigabytes module of DDR4 and registered ECC memory, you can go up to 256 gigabytes when you have a Xeon CPU. Don't forget. So let's just install this because I actually need to install this. So let's put it there, and then my computer is going to be now packed with 64 gigabytes of memory RAM. So let's open the latches here and install the second DIMM. So that's all, and as I just mentioned before, up to an 18-core CPU, tons of expansion. I don't know if we can add something else. Yeah, actually, you can add something else still in the middle, but I have nothing else to install. But yeah, actually that's pretty cool, and that's how it can maybe look for you as well. Or maybe you can install instead the RTX Quadro 4000 because you don't like it or doesn't matter. You can put back again the K6000, maybe to get advantage of that double precision capabilities and the 12 gigabytes of video memory. You can put it back again, and that's how it's going to look. There is no, I can assure you as well, there is not going to be cooling performance degradation here. It is pretty well optimized. The front fans in order to push enough air through the devices in order to cool them properly. So I really can assure you no degradation on the thermal of the performance because of thermal problems. Another nice thing that I forgot to mention now that we have open here, pretty hidden there back in the mainboard, you have a USB 2.0 port. Those pods are usually used in companies in order to keep your licensing USB dongles there if in case you need them. And that's pretty cool. I mean, it's all in all, it's a pretty cool GPU, all in all, it's a pretty cool case, mainboard design, because for example, here in the first PCI Express slot, as I just showed you before, I already have my PCI Express NVMe drive there. And maybe you can put another one inside there. And it's a pretty cool chassis. So I just want to show you a little bit of the inside of the computer, just to motivate you to get one of these if you have the chance. And that is the main thing why I do this video. This workstation, as I reviewed before, great, perfect performance powerhouses for all of you guys working out there and doing the job. But even today, for a lot of you guys that require something still very powerful, with just a small investment, this computer is still an amazing deal. Tons of storage, tons of GPUs capabilities, expansion, CPUs upgrades. I mean, it's pretty cool. I mean, this is just a nice machine. It is silent. It has USB-C front ports. It has USB-A port. It has an SD card reader. It has handles to carry it, which are metal and very robust. I mean, 950 watts power supply. I don't know. I think this is a very good deal. And a lot of you guys out there should take a look into the Dell Precision 5820 again. I wanted to say thank you again for all of your likes, for all of your comments, for all the views that you are making on my channel, and for all the nice, amazing comments that you are throwing out there, like pushing me again to make better videos, to produce better content. As I just mentioned, always, I'm very busy with all the things that I have to do, but I do my best to keep creating content, and I hope I can do it at my best always. Maybe now, as well as you saw, I am just changing some furniture, rearranging the rooms, and this is still not very defined where I'm going to work, how I'm going to keep making videos in the future. But just so you know, I'm very grateful for all of your support, for all the things that are happening with the channel, and I just hope this year we can grow up together much more. And I hope all these professional hardware, workstations, finite element simulations, mechanical design, histories about how I am here, I hope they are still in the level that you expect, and I will do always my best to keep you informed with all the things that I learn, as well as my job as an IT specialist. So thank you very much again from my head, and see you until the next time.